Lucky penny. Yeah, come on, get off. It escalated. Squirt some of that stuff onto those things. Hey guys, welcome back to DMAC Customs on the YouTube. Dave here in the garage. Area 51, last video, got some epoxy primer on the old girl, and yeah, learnt some stuff. This video, I want to get the doors, oh, where's the doors? I want to get the doors up to the same stage, so I'll strip them out and start sanding and stuff like that. So let's get at it. Okay, so got both doors. I've taken the inner garnish moulding off both of them, and I've already taken what I'm going to take out of the other door over there, which is the quarter window and the hinges and stuff, and any other miscellaneous screws. Got to take the door handle off. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. But I remembered I've actually got some extra holes that I need to fill up as well, so they'll need to be welded up and smoothed out and stuff like that before we can chuck some epoxy and that on there. So I'll get this over onto a panel stand that I have prepared over there, so I can kind of take this stuff off the door. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I've been off under the weather for a couple of days. I've got a bit knocked around with some kind of viral thing or something like that, which put me on the couch for a couple of days. So it's actually like Sunday afternoon, so I'm not going to get a full weekend at this. I'm just going to try and pick away at it during the week to kind of stay on task, if you know what I mean. Yeah, so today I'm going to pull this door apart. Start with these hinges. Just like that. Mark a little LB on there for left bottom. As far as I can tell, the hinges are actually the same from left to from top to bottom, but there could be something microscopically different about them that I can't see. But I had a look at these, the right hand ones. Got them labelled, right top, right bottom. You sort of sit them side by side. They don't appear to be any different, but I could be missing something. But let's have a look at. I don't know if anyone knows. Let me know in the comments. Are these hinges all the same from left to right, top to bottom? Still just got one more to take off, so I'll just get that off and mark it. And change to a 1/2 inch. For some reason the bolts that are holding these hinges on, one's 1/2 inch, one's 9/16. I don't know why. That's how it was when I got it. But I've got new nuts, new bolts and that for all of this anyway, so that's all goods. Alright, so I'll go and put my left top on there. LT, Lieutenant Dan. Handy little gadget that. It keeps coming unwindy. But yeah, not a $4 Wish one. This was a $15 Toolshed one. And so there's those 4 hinges, like left to right, they all look the same. Are they the same? You tell me in the comments, let me know. Next up, I'll take out this quarter window. When I was doing the other side, I lost a little screw into the door. Tried finding it with a magnet and everything, shaking the door out and all that sort of shit. The little sucker's gone, unfortunately, so I'm already down one of the tiny specialist machine screws for this. That's where that goes up into there. Yeah, so anyway, we'll get this stuff out. With these mem jammers, that right out. There's a whole bunch of screws, 4 across here, 2 there, the little weeny one that goes up inside there, which is the one I lost, And then there's we've got 5 that run down the outside the thingy jig. So I'll start with, there is another fastener down inside the door down over here, but I didn't have that actually attached in my mock-up. I'm hoping it does still fit actually. It seems a bit off, but I'm going to take those ones off. This one, don't disappear on me. That one, oh, there it goes. Oh shit. Into my bag of left-hand door stuff. Oops, got it. That's the little sucker I lost. I think I'll have some of those somewhere, hopefully. What do we need now? Flathead. Strange thing with the other door to this door being from a different year vehicle, all these screws that I'm taking out now on the other door are all Phillips head ones, where on this door they're all flathead. It's the same with some of this other stuff as well, I think. Yeah, there we go. Bag. Got it. Take my glass out. There we go, just like that. I should probably keep that as a template, maybe. I'll probably make new templates for the glass anyway when we get that far. Next up, got to take the door handle off. Now the door handles on these things are basically held on by this thing here, which is just a sliding kind of locking plate. So once we pull that back, that whole door handle just drops out. The other side was a little tricky. I don't know if you can see in there. I'll just grab a torch. If you see in there, you see that kind of grey plate. That's that sliding locking plate sort of thing. So all I have to do is pull that tab back there and that'll release the door handle. So I'll try it. The other one was a bit scrunchy and stuff. And so it kind of didn't really want to move. This one feels a bit tight as well. So I'll chuck a little bit of CRC in there and hopefully that'll free up any kind of binding that it's doing. The other side I had to kind of get in here with a scraper thing and knock it from the inside just to get it moving, which I may have to do again. If I can find said scraper thing, because I don't know what I did with it. The hell is that thing? Did I put it away? Yeah, look at that. I did use this thing. Am I going to be able to do that again? What do I do with that scraper thing? There it is. And hammer. just like that. And then you just push that sucker back in, just like that. Alrighty, so that's about everything I was taking off the door I was going to take off. I was going to take all this out as well, but I'm thinking I might just leave it in and, you know, clean it all up and stuff, and then, because when I paint everything, I'm going to want these screws to be all painted and, you know, not scratch it up putting new stuff in. So I'll mask this stuff off when we come to, you know, start squirting paint and stuff around, if you know what I mean. Yeah, so that's all that. Got to clean up all these hinges so they're ready to go. I think there'll be a bit of time on the wire wheel. Not really looking forward to doing these inner door parts and stuff. Probably should plug those holes with a bit of weld, or maybe a little fiberglass or something like that. Probably do a little bit more filing on there. This is where there's a little section welded in when you do the chop on these. I repurposed part, I think it was from here. When you take a section out of here, you can move it over up here, if that's right. I think that's where it came from. I had the offcuts kicking around, so I was just like trying them, matching the profiles and that, and it's almost bang on. I won't say it is bang on, but it's almost bang on. And then what else do we have to do? Oh, that's right, we had to put a pie cut in here and up the front and tip it in ever so slightly as well, which surprised me a little bit. I didn't think we'd have to do that. Oh, that's right, we had to do it at the A-pillar, that's right. Had to do it at the A-pillar, so we had to do it at the door to get the A-pillar and the roof to line up. So I tipped it in at the A-pillar in that way, so I wasn't trying to pull it out at the roof, you know. Easier to do it there, cleaner than actually end up risk messing up stuff up there. You can see those. I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but there's a little crinkle right there. It actually looks like it's, and then through here, see where that brace is up there? That's where obviously the braces stop the whole roof caving in. So whether it's been somebody storing crap on top of it, as I ranted about last week, or whether it's been, so, you know, someone's climbed on top of it and, you know, done a little bit of jumpity jump up and down. Anyway, getting off task. Yeah, I don't know what I'll do next. Haven't got too much day. Still feeling a little bit spaced out, to be honest. That viral thing that I had kind of real weird, kind of put me on the couch. It was strange. Not like a cold, but it was like a flu, but without all the sinusy shit. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. But anyway, I digress. I don't know why I'm going on about that. Still kind of feeling sorry for myself a little bit. I lost a whole weekend, man, on working on the Area 51 or doing something else. So I guess might just do a bit of wire wheeling on these hinges and maybe come around and weld up these holes during the week. I don't know if you can see this on the camera, but see, I just found this on the inside of this door. It's got Lucky Penny. Interesting. Don't know whether that's something from the factory or just at some point in this car's life or this door's life, somebody decided to write Lucky Penny on it. Anyway, carry on. Alrighty, so that's one hinge wire wheeled up. I just thought I'd do one off camera, so if it didn't work, I'll, you know, kind of wouldn't look like an idiot. But they actually kind of come up kind of quicker and easier than I thought they would. They're kind of a pretty rough and ready kind of hinge anyway. You know, the castings and whatnot are a bit, I don't know, kind of rough, but you know, they're alright. Not that you really see them much anyway. That's the bit inside the door. That bit there's inside the post. Hang on, how does this work? I don't know, like that bit's inside the door. Yeah, so you only see that much anyway, and so I suppose that doesn't look too bad. All the stuff you can't see is looks a bit rudimentary, but the main parts that you do see is that bit, and they're alright. They got little brass, kind of like little washers in between each part. I don't know whether they've had like rebuild kits or something in them. I doubt it, because these are a flared pin that goes through there. I don't know. Anyway, I'll carry on. 1 down, 3 to go. I'll do one and film that, show you how it all kind of, there's a bit of monkeying around to get everything, but yeah, it works all right. So, where did I do this before? Start with opening the vise up for the 14th time to do one hinge. There we go. Alrighty, so that's number 2 done. I didn't quite get it all off in there, but that'll be alright. You can see my marks still hold up against the old wire wheel. Bit of pitting in that in this, but I don't think it's going to affect the structural integrity of this hinge somehow. So that's basically how the routine for doing these, how I'm doing them. So that's 2 down, 2 to go. Alrighty, so that's all the hinges done. One of these right hinges is a little stiff, but it's probably better than it being all like too sloppy and stuff. Hey, they all seem to be pretty fairly snug. They don't have a lot of play in the hinge, so that's good. Better than the bomb truck anyway. And the hinges on that like are all yeah, so that's where we leave that. Just push them aside now, so just leave them there. Next up, probably hit the doors, weld up these extra holes that I don't need anymore, and then the arduous task of sanding all of that stuff. On the outside I'm not so concerned about now that I've got the mighty DA vacuum set up going, but getting into all of this, it's a bit of a pain. But in saying that, I could probably get in there with the DA as much as I can, and then finish the remainder by hand or whatever. And so this door here, I had to replace that whole section there because it was all mangled. Really. Okay, anyway, it's enough for today. Got to get it cleaned up. Gonna go and pick up the boy, and shouldn't even really been doing this. These aren't my garage clothes. But I got some super glue for gluing belts back together because I'm going to be doing some more power belt snapper 1000 action in a upcoming video. Hey guys, well, it's a couple of days later and I'm struggling with this drill. I thought I'd just come down and weld up those little holes, get ahead, so hopefully on the weekend I can just hook into this and these doors and get them stripped back and into some epoxy as well. Hopefully, that's the plan. Sweet, that worked pretty good. That all went swimmingly, so that's good. Now I just got to get them a little bit of a clean up and on to the next one. Hopefully the clean up goes all good. Get some safety eyewear. A bit hard to see out of these, but we'll use them anyway. Alright, that's those holes welded up in there. There's 2 up there and 2 down there, and there was a couple of little holes. I missed a couple of bits. That'll be alright. I've got to put a little bit of filler and stuff, put a fiberglass or something in there to fill up that porosity that I got when I did the gapping on there. Anyway, so there'll be a bit of filler in there. Like there's going to be a bit of filler in the rest of the car, so a little bit in the door frames is going to be alright too. Right, 1 down, 1 to go. Okay, so just been wire wheeling back, and I forgot that this door here, because I still can't remember which is the 51 door and which is the other one, because there's some differences. Now, this obviously had trim all the way across, and I think it was me who welded up the trim holes across the top. I'm pretty sure I did, but I hadn't cleaned them up on the inside. So I'll do that while we're here. Found a little pinhole in that little section there that I'm going to take care of, and another one down here. So I'll just quickly buzz all of those in with the old Megasaurus over there and get at it. Okay, so that's all my holes welded up. These holes were kind of overlapping the lip and on the pinch weld sort of thing, so I kind of ground them back. I haven't gone in there with a cutting disc and kind of shaved them down and stuff, because I will be seam sealing that joint as well. I like to run a little bit of seam seal, even if it's just kind of rubbed through there with my finger sort of thing. So I'm not too fussed about that, because I end up with a little bit of texture from the seam sealer in there anyway. I just like to seam seal all these joints just in case, over time the joints open up or loosen up or swell a little bit. I just tend to, I do that. I mean, I'm not qualified in this field. It's just something I have done on my other cars, and I don't know whether you have to or not. I'm just pretty sure one of them had seam sealer on all those joints when I started it as a project, and I've just done it on all my others since. So anyway, what I'm saying is, to cover up my laziness, not getting in there and shaving down those little bits even further. Actually, the top ones aren't too bad. That one there is probably the worst. But I'm not too concerned about that, although I may get in there and do it, who knows. But anyway, I welded up the holes that I didn't need, so they'll come up alright. I was doing a little bit of an experiment with the old wire wheel, just to see how easy it's going to be to get this stuff off, this old paint, this blue. Definitely comes off that door easier than this door. That door there just kind of like strips down pretty quick. That one there takes a bit more work because it's got more sort of red oxide underneath it, and that takes a bit more getting off. Probably don't have to get it all the way off though, to be fair. I just need to get the stuff that's not really keyed on there good off, because I think that is old enamel, oil base, that's on there, just the way it kind of behaves when you sand it and the way it smells when you sand it. I'm pretty sure that is the same stuff that was on the dash, which is just like oil base enamel, alkali enamel. I think it's alkali, same sort of thing as like one-shot paint and stuff like that. So that's it for tonight. Enough jibber jabber. I'll see you in a couple of days, hopefully. Hey guys, right, so a few days later, bomb truck's out of the way, it's out there. Still got to do a video on that, so kind of talk about it, you know what I'm saying. Gonna hit the old doors, try and get them down into primer, into bare steel, and then into primer this weekend, hopefully. The weather's freezing actually, it's cold, but yeah, we'll hook into it. Hopefully that'll warm us up. Yeah, so this is my rig. This is the DA that I used on the body that my buddy from Wellington brought up for me. It works pretty good. It's got a vacuum attachment sort of thing, which I've got hooked up to my old little R2D2 over there, and it works really good. It like you know, it's not 100% suck all the dust away, but it does actually work pretty good. So I'll hook into these and get into it. This is I don't know, it looks like maybe some red oxide under here. She's a bit of surface rust in that, so hopefully it hasn't got like too many layers, but there is a bit of thickness here, so I don't know what's going on with that. The other door is much the same, doesn't look like there's too many layers of paint on there, so hopefully they won't take too much to cut them down. So I'm going to get a dust mask and chuck some earbuds in and get into it. Okay, so outside of one door pretty much done. The hands are starting to tingle. So still got to do all the inner frame of the door and the whole of this other door. So yeah, coming up alright though. I had a few little issues. There's a little bit of body filler in there and a little bit down here, but you can see it's been leaded at some point in its life. There's old file marks here and a little bit of lead repair, but I can't see anything from the inside, so it may even just be old school dent repair with lead. But on the whole, these doors are really solid. This is this door in particular, that's the outer skin, is like sweet, like it's really solid. Is it that one? No, it's the other door. I had to rebuild the bottom of it, but it's got a little bit of pitting up here underneath that trim. That's alright. Doesn't appear to be kind of holes going all the way through, so that'll get a treatment and an epoxy, or probably just an epoxy. It's already been sprayed a couple of times with the old rust converter, but so we'll epoxy that and probably run some fiberglass or something into it. Fiberglass resin or whatever, I don't know, something like that. Done it before, seems to work. And make sure we seal it up from the inside, get spray up behind it, you know. And right, but yeah, probably grubby as. My DA wasn't DAing when I first started. It was kind of just running like a grinder. Oh, I think it started raining. Bugger it, truck's outside. Yeah, so it was kind of running like a grinder, and so I ended up having to spend about half an hour taking it apart, cleaning it all out and getting it to work properly again. But it's working properly again now. Well, maybe not the vacuum part of it so much, but yeah, we're back at it. Alright, let's start doing this door jamb or frame. Okay, so flipped over the door, decided to take the door lock stuff and that out anyway. Had a bit of a struggle getting the actual mechanism out, because you have to undo that little bolt there and loosen off that track. I'm not sure with the window track kit that I've got for this whether you get a new one of those, so I've just put it back where it was. Just got the kind of door lock mechanism and that other part out, just got them out the way. I wasn't going to take them off. I was, and then I wasn't, then I was and I wasn't, and I did. So there you have it. What's that? A little bit of boogery stuff there. Get the grinder onto that, take care of that little bit of business. So this bottom side of this door is all pretty clean as well. A little bit of scaly shit, so I'll just go around with that, the wire wheel, and then get to as much of this as I can with the DA, and maybe a bit of hand sanding. It might not take it all the way back to, you know, like this, because I don't know. They'll just take forever, you know. Oh, turn my light off. But anyway, yabbering on about it ain't gonna get done, so it did start raining in the old truck, and I left the cover in the back of the truck. It wasn't supposed to rain until like 6 o'clock tonight, but yeah, I had headphones on and noisy DAs and stuff going, so I didn't hear it start up. So now my car cover's all wet. So I'm not sure what I'll do about that. So for now, I'll just leave it where it is. Oh, check out this archaeological dig. Right, found some Bondo in this lower half of this door. Not surprised really, because I had to cut the whole bottom part of this door off a couple of years ago. But you can see, you know, like file marks, and there was, I don't know if you can still see them, but there's like orbital sander marks and more file marks, and you know, someone's done a fair bit of work on this door at some point. Like, I don't know whether they're trying to get dents out or what, but yeah, I just thought I would stop and show you that. And then obviously the layers of paint that's been on this thing in its lifetime. It's like tree rings. Been trying to figure it out as I go. This kind of greeny grey colour here, I think, is possibly the original colour for the car. That dark blue that's spattered around, found that in the door jambs and stuff, but not really a lot on the outside of the car, which is odd. And then there's been like a burgundy red on some stuff on that door over the top of the red oxide. That could just be more red oxide, don't really know. I don't know. Anyway, I just find it quite interesting. You kind of look back and sort of see what's kind of been done to these things over the years, good, bad, ugly. And then there's my contributions to the good, bad and the ugly as well. But we're getting there. But I'm just trying to dig out this filler because it's canning a little bit on this door. So I want to kind of see what's underneath it to see whether I can improve on it, or whether I'll just put some Bondo back into it, bowl, filler, stuff like that. But anyway, carry on. Okay, so I haven't finished this door yet. I thought I'd show you what I found underneath all that box. Found this. See that? That's daylight coming through these holes in here. This door, because these two doors are off two different cars from what I can gather, this door here from memory is the one that had heaps of like heaps of that stuff, that butanol stuff, like tar, body deadening, rust protection shit in there, but that just come off in sheets, and it was all flaking off in a real crappy mess inside this door. And this is the rustiest door. This was all rusty down the bottom and stuff, and it looks like it was probably starting to rust up at some point in its life, and someone's kind of bashed it back, ground it back, and then just bogged over it. So I'm gonna have to fix this somehow. I was having a look on the inside, and the pitting on the inside is fairly localized to around this area, which is obviously where the worst of this is. There's a bit up here as well. There's a few little bits that are plugged up there. So I'm still going to carry on and get these into etch primer. I'll probably just not prime that bit there for now, because I'm going to have to cut it. This is not a repair I was expecting to do, but you can tell by the disappointment on my face. Pardon me, but what I might end up doing is cutting up through here. I would have liked to keep it as close as possible to where this trim line goes through. It would be cool if I could do it underneath it, because that's where that big body spear is going to go on there. But it's pretty thin and crappy up and behind here, up to around about here on the inside. So it looks like I'm going to kind of cut a chunk out of this door right through the middle, which is risky, like as far as trying to, you know, get a really good patch panel in there without it pulling in. And you know, this could be days worth of work for me to to try and get it good. It's not impossible, but it's going to be a thing. Anyway, I'll carry on sanding the rest of it and whatnot. Then I'll figure out, I'll ponder how I'm going to attack this particular setback. I thought I was done with rust for now, but anyway, carry on. Alrighty, so door number 2 at the same stage as door number 1. I've been pondering what I'm going to do about that rust in door number 2, and I think, well, I don't think, I'm going to tackle that today before I do the X primer and stuff, whatnot. So my plan is cut that piece out, weld a new piece in, clean, do the grindy stuff, and hopefully get these into epoxy tomorrow. All going well. So, but before I do any of that, I have a bit of a clean up and get myself set up for cutting and welding and things like that. And sure did chew through a few of these 80 grit sanding pads. Yeah, I guess once you get down onto the steel, like, you know, the steel just takes the edge off them, sort of thing. They kind of last a bit longer when I was kind of like going through just the paint sort of stuff. But yeah, once you kind of get down to that steel, man, it just takes that edge off those sanding pads. But they're just, to be fair, they're just kind of like cheap ones off the old Interweb, not like name branded ones. They've got nothing branded on them, so they're probably, I don't know, only good for about a quarter of what like a 3M or a Norton or something is good for. But yeah, right, what we're going to do now, screwdriver, that's right. Take the old dust extractor off the vacuum. Okay, so I've got it over here closer to where I've got my tools. I just have to be careful, try not to get too much grinding sparks on the old Area 51 body. So what I've got to do, decide, is I've got to cut from about here to about here. And I'm going to cut that whole section there out, but I was thinking I might cut it back to this join, so I've only got kind of 3 new joins, and that one's there. That one's a bit lumpy there anyway, so might be a good thing to cut that out. But before I do that, I'm going to mark where my holes are. I'll run some lines up there, so I kind of know where to find them and where to put them, because I'll still have these ones to center off, but it's be these 3 I'm going to cut them out, so I want to be able to mark them and put them back in. I'll go 280. Oh, that's not really a square edge, is it? It's probably a square edge. So I'll measure from this end, from the other end. So 345. 345, 730, 730, and 908, 908, 908, back that way, Next, I might get a piece, cut a piece, and start getting the curve and that into it before I actually cut it out and, you know, commit myself over this end. How big is that? Oh, she's a bit lumpy on the end, but might be alright. Might be able to use that. We need roughly need about 650. 700 there. So if we're going to go, so we want about 115. So 120, 220 by 6. Over here, 220 by 650. 220. Actually, I should probably take that over there where there's heaps of room and cut this out. Ruler. Double check that. Yeah. Cutting stuff. Miss goggles. Alright, so you're probably thinking, what are you doing, man? But I'm rounding the corners on my patch so I don't have a sharp corner up here, so hopefully you won't get as much kind of puckering and stuff when I weld it in. That's the plan anyway, but I've just got to cut those. What a tin snip's that? Yeah, I've got to cut those. Where that went? That's the washing machine. Cut. Alrighty, so camera's all wampus. Alright, yep. Right, so if I'm going to put that there, it's going to have an ever so slight curve on there. So I need to put an ever so slight curve into it somehow. I'll just do it by hand like this. Oh, that might be it. Way too much. Washing machine still. Buckle in there. The washing machine still. I really should switch it off, but I was busy doing this, so got my ever so slight curve. So have a look to see what it looks like. Oh, she might be on the money. Right about there is where it needs to go. Right there, so what size was that? That's 51, that should be the same size. Yes. Alright, so I'm going to use a hole saw to get me in there. To do that, I need to find where I'm going to drill the hole. This will get me a bit more in the ballpark. Okay. A little centre punch. There she goes on the thing. Alright, might drill a wee pilot first. That seems like the sensible thing to do. Need a wee drill bit. Got a drill, just need a drill bit. Safety. Scary. Alright. Let's see. Might want earmuffs for this. Yep, come on, get off. Get. There we go. Yeah, see that? This is where all that bitumen stuff was all stuck on the inside of this door, so it's trapping moisture behind there. It's one theory. And then obviously it might have had some random bubbles coming through on the outside, and so at some stage in its life this little unit has had, oh, let's cut through that as well, has had someone come along, grind it all out, hammer it back and bog it up. I've cut it just shy inside of my line to allow for the pen. Hopefully this still fits. So it might take a little bit of trimming and fine tuning and stuff, but okay, so here goes, wish me luck. I'm going to start tacking at one end and work my way down, and that way if it kind of pulls or needs trimming I can do the old kind of button cut and butt technique if need be. Let's go. Turn it on. Did I switch it on? No. That would have been good. Alrighty, so it's all tacked in. It was wanting to pull down right here, so I've just spent probably the last hour or so ripping my arms a bit, trying to planish it, just kind of stretch those welds back up. It's still pulling down a little bit, but I think I will go ahead and kind of weld it up a bit more and then hammer it up a bit more after that. Know what I'm saying? So, do that. Hey guys, well, it's welded in and it's 80% of the way hammered up. Still got a low spot down on this side, which I think I kind of did from my original thing, so it's like stacking shit on top of shit basically. Up the top here's coming along. It's not like metal finished straight sort of thing, it's more of a kind of have some filler happening in there, but yeah. Okay, so the battery went dead. SD card's looking very low as well for some reason. I must have left the thing recording earlier. Where was I saying? Yeah, I'm no panel beater body man by any stretch, so I'll get this as close as I can. I'm still having trouble getting down in there, so I kind of still got about a crikey. Never mind about that. about probably over 1/4 of an inch in the lowest point. So, but that's the bit that I'm having trouble getting up behind inside there to stretch the steel out again. You know, it's you know, it's coming up. It was worse than that before, trust me. And that was with trying to keep it cool and whatnot. Managed to keep that kind of pucker up here to a minimum. It did pucker, more on the grinding than the welding. I wasn't thinking, I was getting impatient, just, you know, just grinding away like an idiot, and yep, got it a bit hot. So yeah, but she's coming round. But that's enough for today, man. I'm beat, so I'm gonna go and leave this till tomorrow, and then hopefully we'll get that cleaned up and get some epoxy etch onto these 2 doors. But it's supposed to be pissing down tomorrow, which, you know, not quite sure how I'm gonna do it, but we'll get it done. Okay, update. It escalated, like got way out of control. I was trying to hammer it up and I got a bit of heat in there with the old map torch and to bring up the bottom, and that worked. So I got excited and tried to bring up a bit more in the middle, and it didn't work. It just ended up I just stretched stuff and shrunk stuff. I don't know what I did really, but I ended up having to cut that top line out and then cut a relief in there. And I've just finished welding it all back up and ran out of gas, so I kind of just made it. And to be fair, I did a couple of little pinholes with no gas, so they're a little bit porositied. But I try to take my time, go real slow and keep it cool and stuff like that. But as you can see, shit gets out of control and I end up with an absolute cluster. There was a bit of swearing and stuff going on, so I didn't do any videoing during that part. But it's, as long as I can weld it back without overheating it, it's still a little bit on the low side in there, especially at the ends. It's pulled up a bit down the middle. It's still a little bit low, especially now that I've welded it again, so I might endeavour to do a little bit of hammering again. It's like midday. I've been hammering all morning and then cutting and welding and carrying on. But anyway, I'll slowly grind this back and see where we go from there. So ground it back, run it over with the DA and stuff. Now she looks worse than she is. Well, she is kind of pretty bad, but there's a few lows and whatnot which I just can't get up behind. Probably right through the middle is the lowest part now. I just can't get behind there to kind of really planish it out properly. Probably should have just done a whole new lower skin, like then I would have just had one seam through the middle and picked a place where I could get in behind it. But I run out of gas, not going to do that now. She's going to have a little bit of filler and stuff in there. But anyway, kind of, I've drilled the holes. Yeah, it's done. It's not my finest work by any stretch, but as I said before, I'm not a professional, and you've seen some of the other stuff. You know, some stuff works out good, other stuff it just doesn't happen that day. I don't know why, but anywho, well, before I go any further, I'm going to spray a bit of black etch on the inside just to seal that up while I'm remembering, and run a bit of seam seal around on the inside all those welds so it's sealed. Yeah, okay. And then any little pinholes and stuff from that porosity from not having any gas left, wasn't much, it was just about half a dozen or so little bits that I had left to do. Just kind of did it the bad way. So I'll run a bit of seam sealer around on the inside of those as well. So first up, get some etch primer in this. Now it's not actually black etch, it's grey. So I'll etch it. Grey etch done on the inside of the door. You see there? Update. Seam sealed all behind there. Normally I brush it on, but it was kind of awkward to get in there with a little brush, so I just like scooped it out on my hand with a glove on and just smeared it around all over the place. What that'll do is just kind of like close up any little pinholes from the back, so like moisture coming from the back won't get in there. And I've got another stage to do on the inside of the doors and the guards and rear quarters and things like that, which is with the old Schutz gun, just splattering some rust preventative stuff in there. Next up, I want to get some epoxy primer on these mamma jammas. So I think it's stopped raining. I can possibly get the old truck out, which is still wet from yesterday, out onto the driveway, get these panel stands set up and squirt some of that stuff onto those things. Alrighty, so ready to shoot the primer. This epoxy. I'm trying something a little bit different, trying to thin it out just a scotch more, because I think I was reading the TDS sheets wrong. Well, I listened to what the paint shop guy said. He said 10%, but I actually think it needs to be thinned out a bit more than that based on the TDS data, because it's 4:1 product hardener, catalyst, whatever you want to call it, and then 1 to 1.5 thinners. So that means if you got 4 litres, 1 litre, it should be 1 litre, yeah? So we'll give it a shot and see what happens. Okay, so that's the first coat down. Dumbass here forgot to clean off my Sharpie marks properly, so they've bled through the epoxy, but I kind of got in there and gave them a bit of a rub and a smear and whatnot. So hopefully they'll be right. You can see all the little dings and dents and stuff in this door that weren't really that visible in raw steel, but you can definitely see them now that we've got a little bit of epoxy on there. So that's one coat down anyways. I've got to look up the recommended time again that you're supposed to leave this stuff, and then give them another coat. Definitely sprays heaps nicer with like another chunk more thinners in there. I can't remember, I kind of went 1 to 1 to 1, so I probably had about 200 mils of thinners, I guess, maybe for a half a litre, 500 mils of paint. But yeah, so I'll let that go off, flash off, whatever you want to call it, and then hit them with the second coat. Well, that's 2 coats on both the doors. I forgot to do the hinges, so I just had to mix up a little bit more paint and do the hinges. Did 2 coats, not too heavy because they're, you know, hinges and they're going to get a bit of a build up on there. On the whole, kind of happy. I'm happy with this door. You know, I knew there was little dents and dings and stuff in it, but this is quite a solid door. You can see in the light, you can see where that lead repair is in that area, but that'll be right, that'll get a skim. This other door, yeah, I don't know, what does it look like on camera? Oh, it looks alright. Reality is, it's pretty, so it's gonna need a bit of body working at a later stage, but it gets me to the point where I can hang the doors back on, you know, kind of for the final time and gap them all up, all proper. So, and I'll do the bodywork on the car, just so I can kind of make sure everything meets up and lines up. I know I probably could kind of rough them in on stands and stuff, but I also just want to get them out of the way so they're not like leaning up against walls and things like that. So get them to the point where they pretty much are going to stay on there, and I'll do all the work around them on the car. Does that sound difficult? Be nothing worse than like spending hours and hours and hours like smoothing them out, making them look super slick, and then bolting them on and it doesn't meet up with something, you know, on the body. But anyway, that's kind of what I'm thinking, how I'm thinking of doing it, sort of thing. Yeah, but yeah, what turned into just supposed to be just sanding back the doors and getting some epoxy on them turned into an absolute shit fight trying to deal with some old rust. If I had just left it alone, it probably would have been okay for a while, you know, before it started eating itself from the inside out, you know, unless I sealed it up real good. It didn't look like there was kind of fresh rust around those holes. Actually, let's have a look. Oh, mind you, I used a wire wheel and everything on it, didn't I? So it's hard to tell, but you know, there was definitely some fair amount of pitting and stuff going on behind that piece, so it's probably better out than in, even if it is a bit wonky and stuff on the door. It's real steel, it's not rust, but it's going to have some real fiberglass and polyester and Bondo and bog or mud or whatever to kind of make it somewhat straightish within my abilities. But anyway, enough about that. I'm going to need a bit of time to ignore that door and then maybe come back into it when I've got a fresher mind. Don't know what I'm going to do next. Still got to do a bit of a rundown on the old bomb truck from the overwhelming response from Rob. So we'll do that at some stage. And I do need to get all the inner fenders, get them sorted, or should I maybe deal with the boot lid first, because I've got to do a bit of work on the inside of that. I'm pointing over there because it's hiding behind that old mountain bike and the guards and stuff, but I've got to do a bit of work on the underside of that. Unfortunately, belt snapper 1000 type stuff, which I tried to use today and snapped 3 belts in the space of about 30 seconds. So tried gluing them back together, as one guy commented and suggested, super glued them back together. It didn't really work, unfortunately. I think it's the actual tool. The tool's just spinning up too hard, too fast. So I might have to go and splash out and get another one, but everything's clapping out all at once and running out of everything all at once. So it's all like moolah, you know. So I've got no gas on my MIG or my TIG. Got all my primer, which is good. Got some body filler and stuff. So I might, I don't know, hang the doors, maybe start in on the deck lid, boot lid next, then get all kind of like the body sheet metal on and whatnot. Actually, I want to do some work in here before I actually hang the boot lid, so maybe I'll do some work on the body, break it up a bit, you know. Who knows. But anyway, you have to subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. That's where we're going to leave this video on the old Area 51 project, so make sure you have subscribed if you haven't subscribed. That would be awesome. On Instagram and Facebook, if you want to go on there. I don't know what I'd really do with them. I just post some pictures and tell you, hey, a new video's coming. That's about the extent of that. But yeah, enough yammering. I'm over it for this weekend. I'm away next weekend, so but I'm a couple of videos ahead, so we should be alright. Yeah, as always, thanks for watching. Until next time, take it easy. Peace.